top 5 tarot and oracle decks and a couple of Lenormand mentions, my favorites for 2016. So let's start with the tarot decks first. So these are not necessarily decks that came out in 2016, but the ones I've enjoyed working with the most this year. So first on my list is the Animal Wisdom Tarot. I used this back in the spring. It is just a lovely, lovely deck. It is gentle. I love the correspondence of the animals that they picked for the cards. Oops, I dropped the box. There it is there. It's beautiful. You know, obviously birds for air, water animals for the 4 cups. And I love their choice of major arcana, like the moon with the hair. It's a beautiful deck. It really speaks to the inner child, but it still gives very accurate readings. And I love that it's also a resource for working with animal guides as well. So I quite like it. And I like that it's a variety of animals. It's not just North American animals. You know, you've got Australian animals in there as well. You know, European, Asian, African, all that kind of stuff. So the vulture, my favorite, the vulture. Oh, a little bit of chipping there. Oh well. It is a really beautiful deck. I loved working with it. I thought it was really great for spring, especially here, you know, when the animals start coming back. I just thought it was a really lovely deck to work with in spring. Quite enjoy it. It's got a great box to keep it in. Love this deck. The next deck I enjoyed working with, and this came out a while ago, is the Steampunk Tarot. I kind of resisted it, and then I got it because I really loved steampunk. I was worried it would be a little too kitschy, but I quite like it. This is Llewellyn deck. I love the style. It's a very sort of masculine deck, and I used it back in August. It's kind of like a fallish deck, I mean, with all the brown tones and everything. It does give very straightforward readings. I love the outfits, love the artwork in this deck, and the book that comes with it is pretty good too. So I quite liked working with this deck as well for 2016. Just gonna put her back in her wrap. Somebody had this lovely wrap made for me, which was so nice, and I thought it was just perfect for the Steampunk Tarot because it's kind of got an old-fashioned vibe to it. There we go. Tie it up in a minute. All right. Next on my list is a deck I was using this summer, which is the Greenwich Tarot. I love this deck. It's such a happy, summery deck, very pagan, but a very, like, not in a dark way. It's very positive, very uplifting deck. Again, really good readings, comes with a really great book as well. Just love the vibe of this deck. So summery, so nice, and I love that the queens are quite mature women. They're not, you know, young ladies. I just love the variety in this deck. Beautiful artwork. It's definitely, some people said, oh, it's, you know, too fantastical or whatever, but I love it. I think it's just a very, very nice, refreshing, light kind of deck, but still gives good readings. The next deck I have is, and these are in no particular order, these are just top 5 I love working with, is the Raven's Prophecy, which was a big surprise for me. I kind of got this on a whim, didn't quite know what to expect from it, and then I started working with it. I think it was like September, it was my September deck this year, and I just thought it was quite lovely and wonderful. It's got a definitely, if you're a creative type person, it's got a wonderful creative bent to it. If I can get it out of the bag. There we go. That's the back there. It's got these really simple kind of graphics on it, and yet they say so much. You know, you've got these fingers and feathers for the swords, you know, death, very straightforward. Love the colors in it. Judgment. Cups, you've got these beautiful crows in it, and features water, obviously. Wands, you've got tree branches. It is just a beautiful deck. It does have sort of a darker tone to it, so it's really good for fall, but it, you know, and then it's got like darker sort of images like that. But it is a great deck, especially if you're a creative type person. It does give these very sort of blunt readings, I find, but at the same time, it kind of is one, like your blunt friend that tells you the truth. Like it's a nurturing in its own weird sort of way, and definitely helps with the creative process. So I quite like this deck. I think it is a wonderful deck. Love this one. Page of Coins. Just these simple, beautiful images that really just tell you like it is, and I quite like that. So that's the fourth one. For number 5, I have the Dreams of Gaia Tarot. I have not done a full walkthrough or review of this. It's really a deck I keep, even though it hasn't been my deck of the month yet. I think I'm going to work with this in February. I've been going back and forth working with it, pulling a card here and there, and I just find that this is an amazing, amazing deck. It's so well put together for everything from the box to the cards to the way it's thought out. It is not a traditional tarot deck, so I know some people are not overly comfortable with that. The book in this is just beautiful. She's got her own system. It is like a 300-page book. It is definitely just a wonderful, wonderful book. I just can't say enough. This deck is just an amazing, amazing little gem. Love the cards too. Everything from the backing, just this plain black with gold. Amazing. And then she's got her own system with the major arcana. It's not everyone's fond of that, but I am totally okay with that. This is a deck that you really need to sit with. I find I really need to read the book because the meanings are so different from traditional tarot. And just really contemplate. There's so much going on in each of these pictures. It is just such a well thought out, amazing deck. So this is definitely in my top 5. I'm going to be working with it more in 2017, but for 2016, this was definitely one that I was super impressed with, and I'll be talking more about it as the year goes on. So that's the top 5 of my tarot. I'm going to give you the top 5 oracle decks. First of all, Wisdom of the Oracle came out in 2015. It has been my daily draw deck for my altar, for me personally. I don't use this reading with others. I love the wisdom in this deck. It just is spot on, as most of Colette Baron-Reid's decks are. I'm not a big fan of computer imagery, but in this one it works. It's got a very dreamlike quality to it. I am loving this deck. It comes with gold edging too, but I use this so much you can see it's starting to wear off, but that's okay. That just means that it's loved. I quite enjoy this deck. It's daily draw deck, and I think it was definitely a good choice for a daily draw deck. My weekly draw deck, which tends to usually have more of a fae bent to it, is the Messenger Oracle. This is not a new deck. It's by Raven Fallon, the same person that did the Gaia Tarot, and I just love this deck too. It's got this fairy, like, just wonderful, and a beautiful balance of light and dark. Just loving this. Love all the dragons in here. It's a wonderful, wonderful weekly draw deck. So I'm loving that one. The book is adequate. It doesn't say, you know, a ton about each card, but you can get a lot if you're intuitive just from the card. Again, the pictures are just wonderful. Next I have the Fairy Force Oracle, which I worked with this fall, by Lucy Cavendish, and I know that it kind of had mixed reviews from some people, but I really liked it. I love the light and dark. I love how there seems like there's a bit of every season in here. It's very fall. This one's very spring. This makes me think of summer nights. And then there's wintry ones in here too. It's just, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous deck. Oh, well, this is totally winter. Look at that. I love this deck. It's got obviously a very fae bent to it. It is, I quite like this deck, I have to say. I was impressed with it. I'm not sure if I like this or the Fairy Oracle, her original one, better, the Wildwood Fairy, but I do really like this, and I'll be working with it again. Next, I have the Oracle of the Mermaids, which I used this summer. I don't think this came out, I'm not sure, 2013, so it's not super old, but a few years old. But I really wanted a mermaid deck, and I got the Jasmine Beckett Griffith one, and I wasn't really happy with it. And I'm quite a lot more happy with this one. I have heard some criticism of this. There isn't a lot of variety in the mermaids, but I really like this deck. I love its romantic nature. And the messages, I think, are very good. It's So I'm quite loving it. It's a very sensual kind of deck. Oh, and of course I pull Divine Sensuality. There we go. Loving this deck as well. And then the next one to round out the top 5 is one that I picked up just recently, which is Kyle Gray's Keeper of the Light. And this is my favorite sort of angel or deity deck that's come out this year. It just got released this fall, and I've just been loving. This is like you call it your, like on Instagram, I pull one of these cards on Sunday and call it your Sunday night celestial hug, because it really is like a celestial hug. It's, some people have criticized it because it has like a mix of gods and goddesses, ascended masters, galactic beings, all sorts of stuff, but I like it. I think it is wonderful, and you know, gives you just like a really nice positive message, and the artwork on this is pretty amazing. Horus, yay. And it's got like, it's got some traditional, it's got sort of like some new age and what do they call it, ascended masters type figures. And then it's also got like a little bit of like Christian stuff with, like, you know, you've got Mother Mary, then you've also got Buddha, you've got some Hindu things. So it's, I think it's a really nice mix. I don't mind it, quite frankly. Next, I'm going to show you my top 2 Lenormand decks. I don't do top 5 because I don't have a ton of Lenormand decks, which I'm okay with. The first one is, again, it's not a super new one, but it is the Celtic Lenormand. Again, it's not quite your traditional Lenormand because it's got some extra cards, but I like that. I like that it's got 2 trees and 2 snakes, and you can assign them different things. There's one of the snakes. There's the sun, so it's got like some pretty cool Celtic type imagery. There's one of the trees, the other one's like a winter tree. It's got 3 different birds. So you can either pick out the one that you like and just keep it like a traditional Lenormand, or you can assign the meanings and use them, which is what I do. For example, the tree, the summery tree is health, and then the winter tree is ancestry. And then last but not least is the Maybe Lenormand, which came out this year. Loving this deck as well. It has 52 cards in it as opposed to 36, so it's got your 36 traditional Lenormands, and then they've also added in some cards that are pretty common in like Kipper and Gypsy type, Romany type decks. So you've got your dog there, which is, you know, pretty traditional Lenormand, but then you've got Bacchus. And again, I just assign, you know, the meanings to them. And I put all 52 cards out in this spread, and I love it. The mountain, the safe. I've also actually used this deck to talk about world events. I assign different countries, different or different parts of the world, different significators, and I can use things like the safe as like the World Bank, the bad health card to mean like the World Health Organization, things like that, and you can use it as like a global look, and then I also can use it personally. So I really like this deck. I love the little graphics on it. The book is pretty straightforward. It's not like terribly detailed, but it gives you enough that you can go on. So, and I love that, you know, it's got a nice box to keep it in. So those are my top decks for the year. If you've made a video of your top decks, let me know, because I love watching them. And let me know what you think of these decks. Did you like them? Did you not like them? Did you work with them this year? Anyway, like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.